Imagine a predator whose teeth don't point down to tear and crush, but jut straight forward, like a set of biological tweezers. A jaw designed not for a powerful bite, but to snatch and ensnare its victims. This wasn't a creature from mythology, but a very real hunter stalking a lost island at the end of the age of dinosaurs. This was the world of Masiakasaurus, a dinosaur whose bizarre anatomy challenges our very definition of a predator. In today's video, we will open the most complete scientific profile on this unique creature. We will journey to the world it inhabited, reconstruct its strange body, discover its specialized survival tactics, and delve into the debates its fossils have sparked. If you enjoy exploring the forgotten corners of the prehistoric world, consider joining our expedition by subscribing. Now, let's journey back in time and uncover the story of a lost world. Our story begins at the very end of an era. We are in the Late Cretaceous period, approximately 70 million years ago. The dominion of the dinosaurs is in its final chapter, but on a giant, isolated landmass in the southern hemisphere, evolution is conducting one of its most peculiar experiments. This landmass, which had drifted away from Africa and India tens of millions of years prior, is a place we know today as the island of Madagascar. The northwestern corner of this ancient island, now a fossil-rich expanse known as the Mayavarano Formation, was the kingdom of Masiakasaurus. Forget the lush, tropical jungle we often associate with modern Madagascar. The world of Masiakasaurus was dramatically different. It was a vast, semi-arid coastal floodplain, defined by a stark contrast between seasons. For much of the year, the land was parched, with sandy river channels winding through open woodlands. Life was concentrated along these waterways, the arteries of a thirsty landscape. This was a land of extremes, punctuated by a powerful and torrential wet season. During these months, the rivers would swell, transforming the dusty plains into a network of muddy, debris-choked torrents. This cycle of drought and deluge shaped every aspect of life, demanding resilience and specialized adaptations from all its inhabitants. The vegetation was not a dense canopy, but a mosaic of conifers, ferns, and early flowering plants, tough enough to survive the long, dry spells. The air would have been thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the sounds would have been alien. The buzz of ancient insects, the rustle of unseen creatures in the undergrowth, and the distant calls of pterosaurs soaring on the coastal breezes. This profound isolation was the key to Madagascar's strangeness. For over 20 million years, its fauna had evolved in a world of their own, cut off from the evolutionary trends shaping life on the larger continents. This process, known as island endemism, resulted in a unique and often bizarre cast of characters. The animals here were unlike anything else on Earth, products of a crucible where the rules of evolution were different. It was in this harsh, seasonal, and utterly unique environment that Masiakasaurus had to find its place, carve out a niche, and survive among some of the most peculiar dinosaurs ever discovered. Emerging from the unique Madagascan landscape was a predator built on a completely different blueprint from its larger, more famous cousins. Its full scientific name, Masiakasaurus knopfleri, is a story in itself. The genus name is a direct nod to its homeland, derived from the Malagasy word Masiaka, meaning vicious, and the Greek sauros for lizard, a fitting title for a carnivore. The species name, knopfleri, is a surprising and charming tribute. The excavation team that discovered it found that their luck in finding fossils seemed to improve whenever they played music by the iconic rock band Dire Straits. In honor of this field expedition ritual, they named the species after the band's celebrated frontman, Mark Knopfler. Masiakasaurus was not a giant that would have shaken the ground. It was an exercise in predatory efficiency and lightweight design. Measuring around 2 meters, or 5 feet, from nose to tail, it was about the length of a large alligator, but far more graceful. It stood at the hip about as tall as a German shepherd and would have weighed only about 20 kilograms, or 45 pounds. Its entire skeleton was a masterpiece of engineering, featuring hollow bones filled with air sacs, much like those of a modern bird. This pneumatic structure drastically reduced its weight, allowing it to be a swift, agile hunter, built not for brute force, but for explosive bursts of speed and nimble maneuvering through the dense undergrowth along riverbeds. However, all analysis of this creature inevitably comes back to its skull, which houses one of the most bizarre and specialized dental arrangements of any known vertebrate. The jaw itself was long and slender, not built to deliver a bone-crushing bite. Its power was not in pressure, but in precision. While the teeth located at the back of its mouth were small, compressed, and serrated, a relatively standard design for slicing flesh, the teeth at the front of its jaw were utterly alien. The first tooth of each upper jawbone and the first 4 pairs in its lower jaw did not point downwards in a typical bite. Instead, they projected forwards and slightly outwards, almost parallel to the jawline itself. These front teeth were long, conical, and terminated in slightly hooked, spoon-shaped tips. They didn't form a cutting blade, but an intricate snare, a biological grappling hook. Imagine a pair of needle-nose pliers or surgical forceps, perfectly designed not to tear, but to grasp, pierce, and hold fast onto a small, struggling victim. This dental array is almost unprecedented among theropod dinosaurs, representing a highly specialized evolutionary path. This incredible feature immediately begs the question: what kind of prey requires such a specialized tool? This was not the jaw of an animal that wrestled large prey. It was a precision instrument, and its function is the key to understanding the survival of Masiakasaurus. So, how did this strange-toothed hunter survive in such a competitive world? The answer lies in specialization. Masiakasaurus was a precision instrument in an ecosystem dominated by brute force. Its forward-jutting teeth were not for tackling large game or tearing chunks of flesh from a carcass. Instead, paleontologists are confident it was a specialist hunter of small, quick, and often slippery prey. Its diet likely consisted of a varied menu of the ecosystem's smaller inhabitants: fish, frogs, lizards, snakes, early mammals, and perhaps even large insects or unguarded hatchling dinosaurs. We can visualize its highly adapted hunting strategy. Picture it silently stalking the banks of a seasonal river, its body held low and parallel to the ground. During the wet season, when the floodplains teemed with life, it would have been a master fisherman. With keen eyesight, it spots the flash of a fish in the murky shallows. In an instant, its long, flexible neck would lash out, its head striking with the speed of a heron. The specialized front teeth would act as the perfect snare, impaling or trapping the small, wriggling victim before it had a chance to escape. Once secured in this dental cage, the prey would be maneuvered back towards the more conventional, blade-like teeth at the rear of the jaw, which would slice it into manageable pieces. As a solitary hunter, Its existence was one of constant vigilance. Its days would have been spent methodically patrolling a territory along the waterways, a landscape that offered the richest concentration of its preferred food. It would have been an alert, high-strung creature, its survival depending on its speed and sharp senses. Its world was a sensorium of danger and opportunity, the scent of carrion on the breeze signaling a Masiakasaurus kill to avoid, the faint scratching of a mammal in the undergrowth signaling a potential meal. In the complex food web of Late Cretaceous Madagascar, Masiakasaurus occupied the role of a mesopredator, a mid-tier carnivore. It carved out its niche by targeting animals that were too small or agile for the island's undisputed apex predator, the fearsome abelisaurid Masiakasaurus. This bulldog-faced carnivore, with its single blunt horn and tiny arms, was a walking engine of destruction. A top predator whose fossil remains famously bear evidence of cannibalism. But the world of Masiakasaurus was filled with more than just this single, looming threat. Gentle giants like the Titanosaur Rabbitosaurus browsed on the tough vegetation, their footsteps shaking the ground. The waterways were policed by a bizarre array of crocodilomorphs, from the giant, predatory Masiakasaurus to the strange, pug-nosed, plant-eating Simasuchus. The monstrously large devil frog, Beelzebufo, an amphibian ambush predator of nightmarish proportions, lay in wait for anything it could fit in its enormous mouth. In this land of giants and evolutionary oddities, the key to survival for Masiakasaurus was to be different, to be specialized, and above all, to be fast enough to seize an opportunity and escape notice. The bizarre anatomy of Masiakasaurus inevitably leads to one of paleontology's most fascinating puzzles. What, precisely, was its unique jaw for? While we have a general picture of its lifestyle, the specific function of its dental snare is the subject of intense scientific debate. The evidence locked in its bones points in several compelling and sometimes conflicting directions, forcing us to become detectives of deep time. The leading hypothesis casts Masiakasaurus as a specialized piscivore, or fish eater. Proponents of this view point to compelling modern analogs. The long, interlocking, conical teeth are strikingly similar to those of the Indian gharial, a species of crocodile that feeds almost exclusively on fish. These teeth are not designed for slicing flesh from a large carcass, but for puncturing and securely gripping slippery, wriggling prey in water. Considering that Masiakasaurus lived on a coastal floodplain with extensive river systems, which would have teemed with fish during the wet season, such a fish trap adaptation would have been incredibly effective. Its long, low-slung body and flexible neck would have been perfect for snatching prey from the water's edge. However, another compelling argument suggests that looking only to the water is too narrow a view. These forward-facing teeth could have also functioned as a perfect set of forceps for terrestrial hunting. This would have allowed Masiakasaurus to probe into tight spaces underneath logs, into rock crevices, or deep into burrows to snatch lizards, snakes, and small mammals hiding within. This strategy would have been particularly vital during the long, punishing dry season, a callback to the boom-and-bust climate it endured. When the rivers shrank and fish became scarce, the ability to exploit these hidden food sources would have been a crucial advantage for survival. A more speculative, though intriguing, idea proposes that Masiakasaurus might have used its strange teeth for digging. The robust tips of the front teeth, some researchers argue, could have been used to excavate soft soil or tear into insect colonies to unearth grubs and other invertebrates. While this would represent a truly unique lifestyle for a theropod dinosaur, this hypothesis is less widely supported. The jaws of Masiakasaurus do not appear to be robustly constructed enough to withstand the repetitive stresses of digging, and the fossil teeth don't typically show the extreme patterns of wear and abrasion that such activity would cause. Ultimately, the answer may not be a simple choice between these theories. It's highly probable that Masiakasaurus was an opportunist whose teeth were a multi-purpose tool. Its primary diet may have been fish, but it was perfectly equipped to hunt small terrestrial animals when the opportunity arose. This versatility was likely the true secret to its success, allowing it to thrive in the extreme, ever-changing environment of ancient Madagascar. The story of how Masiakasaurus came to be known is as piecemeal and puzzling as its unique anatomy. For centuries, its bones lay scattered and buried in the red sandstones of Madagascar, their secrets locked away from the world. Its journey into the light of science began not with a single, spectacular skeleton, but with a collection of frustratingly incomplete fragments discovered over the course of several arduous expeditions. Throughout the 1,990 seconds, paleontological teams scoured the hot, expansive landscapes of the Mavarano Formation. The work was grueling, a search for a needle in a geological haystack. What they began to find were enigmatic clues: isolated vertebrae, pieces of limb bones, and most curiously, fragments of a jaw with those bizarre, forward-pointing teeth. At first, the remains were so strange and disarticulated that they posed more questions than answers. The jaw fragments, in particular, were a source of intense debate. Were they assembled correctly? Could this strange dental arrangement be the result of a deformity? The structure was so unlike that of other known theropods that researchers had to meticulously rule out other possibilities before accepting the incredible truth. The eureka moment came as more material was gathered over several field seasons. By 2001, with enough pieces of the puzzle on the table, the team could finally see the full, bizarre picture. A new and utterly unique creature was officially introduced to the world as Masiakasaurus knopfleri. Its formal description was a revelation. It provided definitive proof that the abelizauroid lineage of theropods, a group known for apex predators like its contemporary, Majungasaurus, had also produced small, gracile, and hyper-specialized forms. This discovery was a textbook example of niche partitioning. In the same environment where the massive Majungasaurus hunted large prey, the diminutive Masiakasaurus had evolved to target a completely different menu, allowing them to coexist without direct competition. This find fundamentally expanded our understanding of theropod diversity. It shattered the mold, proving that small carnivores weren't just scaled-down versions of larger ones. They were capable of evolving into highly specialized forms, especially in the evolutionary pressure cooker of an isolated island. Masiakasaurus became a poster child for the weird and wonderful fauna of the southern continents, or Gondwana. In the wider world, Masiakasaurus has not achieved the global fame of Tyrannosaurus. It remains a more subtle icon, a cult favorite among paleontology enthusiasts who appreciate its unique weirdness. However, its striking appearance has earned it a growing legacy. Its most notable appearance came in the landmark series Prehistoric Planet, where it was vividly brought to life hunting crabs on a shoreline, a scientifically plausible behavior that brilliantly showcased how its strange teeth could be used. These depictions are crucial, moving the animal from a collection of bones to a living, breathing creature in the public imagination, and cementing its legacy not as a monster, but as one of nature's most fascinating and successful experiments. Thus, from a puzzle of scattered bones unearthed from the ancient soil of Madagascar, science has resurrected an incredible predator. We have journeyed to its lost island world, a land of extreme seasons and bizarre creatures. We have analyzed its unique anatomy, focusing on a jaw unlike any other, and explored how this vicious lizard survived not with overwhelming power, but with precise, specialized tools. Masiakasaurus was a creature perfectly sculpted by its isolated environment, a master of hunting small prey in a land stalked by giants and cannibals. The story of Masiakasaurus is a powerful testament to the sheer creativity of evolution. It reminds us that the world of the dinosaurs was far more diverse and wonderfully strange than we often imagine. It shows how, when life is given millions of years on an isolated landmass, it can produce solutions to the challenges of survival that are both elegant and utterly alien. Every fossil, no matter how small or incomplete, is a file waiting to be opened, holding clues to a world we are only just beginning to understand. There are still so many mysteries buried beneath our feet, so many ancient rulers waiting to have their stories told. Of all the debates surrounding Masiakasaurus, which theory about its bizarre teeth do you find most convincing? Was it a master fisherman, a prober of burrows, or an all-around opportunist? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To ensure you don't miss any chronicles of the ancient rulers, make sure you've subscribed and turned on the notification bell. We've followed the journey of the Masiakasaurus. Now, the power is in your hands. Comment below with the name of an ancient ruler you want us to resurrect in our next documentary. The species with the most requests will be our next star.